Today we're going to be looking at Luocha, and I believe the other character is Wukong? Yukong, sorry. Yukong is the new 4-star. We're going to take a look at both, but we're going to start, of course, with Luocha first because, you know, he's the new 5-star character, and I'm sure more people are interested about him. So we're going to go over their abilities, their traces, and even their Eidolons, and of course try them out in combat, and I'll share my 2 cents for each character. So let's get started with his abilities. Before even looking, he is the abundance path as well as imaginary. There isn't a lot of imaginary characters in this game yet, so it's nice to have more, although he's not a damage dealer, he's a healer, so we'll see how useful he can be for shield breaking. And then abundance, just if you're not familiar with the term, means he's focused on healing. Alright, now let's look at the basic attack here. Thorns of the Abyss deals imaginary damage equal to 50% of Luocha's attack to a single enemy. This is only a level 1. Nothing special there. So we have the talent next, which is Cycle of Life. When Abyss Flower reaches 2 stacks, Luocha consumes all of the stacks of Abyss Flower to deploy a field against the enemy. When any enemy in the field is attacked by an ally, the attacking ally's HP is immediately restored by the amount equal to 12.0% of Luocha's attack plus 60. So again, when we're looking at all these traces, when we're actually doing the combat demo, they will be leveled to, I believe, like 7 or 8 or something like that. So these scalings will be much higher. I'm not sure how much higher, but definitely more than this. That's actually really nice. So he basically gives like lifesteal to your party. So let's look at the technique. After the technique is used, the talent will be immediately triggered at the start of the next battle. Wow. Okay, Mercy of a Fool. So he'll get this. He'll get the field immediately, and your whole team can just start lifestealing off the bat. That's actually insane. What the heck? Next up is his skill, Prayer of the Flower, Abyss Flower. After using his skill, Luocha immediately restores the target ally's HP to 40% of Luocha's attack. It is interesting to note that his scalings for healing are based off his attack, not HP. You know, like with someone like Bailu or Natasha. Plus 200. Meanwhile, Luocha gains 1 stack of Abyss Flower. When any ally's HP percentage drops to 50% or lower, an effect equivalent to Luocha's skill will immediately be triggered and applied to this ally for 1 time. Without consuming a skill point, this effect can be triggered again after 2 turns. Excuse me? Free heals, free emergency heals for your team at no cost. And I'm assuming they give you a stack of his Abyss Flower. That's really good. Excuse me. And that does look like a lot of healing even at level 1. 40% of your attack plus 200. Next up we have his ultimate, which is called Death Wish. It's going to remove 1 buff from all enemies and deal imaginary damage equal to 120% of Luocha's attack. To all enemies, Luocha will gain 1 stack of Abyss Flower. So you can use this skill and burst, or ultimate, excuse me, too much Genshin, and you'll get both stacks. Or you can just use his technique and just start with the talent already. So lots of ways to get stacks there, which is really nice. This is also really nice because it removes buffs from enemies. That's all I gotta say is, wow, he has some really nice healing abilities so far, and all scaling with his attack. Let's check out his traces next. So we're just gonna look at not the minor ones like these ones, because these are just passive stat boosts, but like things like these major nodes. So his first one is called Sanctified. When any enemy in the field is attacked by an ally, all allies except the attacker restore HP equal to 7.0. What? Even more healing for everybody? What the heck? Everybody's gonna get healed. Okay, next. Cleansing Revival. When the skill effect is triggered, remove 1 debuff from a target ally. Okay, so this is very similar to Natasha here, right? So you get a major node here that's going to basically cleanse you of 1 debuff when you use a skill, which is actually really nice. And this is also going to be for free, right? Because he has that emergency heal, and I'm assuming it's going to get this. Next up, we have Through the Valley, which is going to... The chance to resist crowd control debuffs increases by 70%. Excuse me? Straight up 70%? Dude, this character basically has effect res 70%, so you just need to give him 30 from your substats. And like, okay, I know that's a little... That can still be a lot to get on your relics, but 30% and you have a 100% chance to resist crowd control debuffs. on one of your more important allies, right? Your healer can never get affected by debuffs. Eidolons, now this is obviously whale territory, but let's just kind of quickly go through them. We got E1 here. While the field is active, attack of all allies increases by 20%, which means 20% more healing as well. And a damage boost for your DPS. Jeez. E2, bestowal from the pure. When his skill is triggered, if the target ally's HP is lower than 50%, Luocha's outgoing healing increases by 30%. If the target ally's HP is at 50% or higher, the ally will instead receive a shield that can absorb damage equal to 80% of Luocha's attack plus 240, lasting for 2 turns. Okay, way to one-up Natasha here. So yeah, Natasha usually gets a little healing boost as well to allies under 50% HP, but Luocha gets that as well, but he also gets the extended effect of giving them a shield if they're above 50. Wow. And then we already know E3 and E5 are going to increase his various levels, his kit levels by a bunch. So we'll just skip those. And then we have E4, which is Heavy Lies the Crown. When Luocha's field is active, enemies become weakened and deal 12% less damage. Dude, okay. Nice damage reduction there. Now you're making Bailu jealous even more, because Bailu has a 10% DR with one of her passive traces. E6 is Reunion with the Dust. When ultimate is used, there's a 100% fixed chance to reduce all enemies all type res by 20% for 2 turns. Dude, are we sure this guy is Abundance anymore? Oh my god. Dude, once you get this guy's Eidolons, he becomes Abundance as a healer, but he turns into a debuffer like Silverwolf, like Nihility, I think it is, right? Alright, while we're looking at Luocha's kit, I just want to briefly look at his Lycone as well, which is Echoes of the Coffin. This is going to give you the Thorns effect, which is going to increase the wearer's attack by 24% after the wearer uses an attack. For each different enemy target the wearer hits, regenerates 3.0 energy. Each attack can regenerate energy up to 3 times this way. After the wearer uses their ultimate, all allies will gain 12 speed? What? Dude! If you get your Luocha this, he becomes Abundance and Harmony Path, because this is a nice buff, not just for him, right? He's getting more attack, he's getting more energy recharge for him, which is great. He's gonna give everyone on your team, he's like a mini Asta, he's gonna give everyone on your team 12 speed. That's for 1 turn, but that's really good. Alright, we're finally on the field with Luocha, and they gave us Serval as well as Dan for our testing team, so we're gonna give it a try. We use his technique so that we got that free field. It kind of reminds me of Kazuha's little burst in Genshin Impact. So we can see all the enemies here are weak against imaginary damage. Let me just see the normal attack. Alright. And then we have Dan, just try to break some more shields. Serval as well. There's that automatic heal. That's very convenient. Alright, this is probably going to be a waste, but I kind of want to just see it. But let's use the burst, or the ultimate, excuse me, on this guy. Oh, it does hit everybody, and got rid of that dude's buff. That's actually really cool. We don't need to heal anybody, so we can just focus on doing damage. And because of his attack scaling, or the fact that you mainly want to give this dude as much attack as possible, you're just... I just realized that thing is that the imaginary break effect when they're stuck like that? I imagine so. Oh, not enough to kill there. There we go. He's gonna heal again. So when you do have 2 allies low, it looks like he's just gonna automatically pick the lower one. It makes sense. So we're gonna have him heal. Nice. And then we get the field. We're gonna use Serval to break the shield. We're gonna use Dan's damage. Then we use yours. Should be pretty close here. Nice. That was the shock damage. Wowie wow, what a great character. Really, really good character. I recommend pulling him for most players if you did not get Bailu. in my opinion, because we all got Natasha for free, right, in the beginning of the game. So we all at least have one healer, but for Memory of Chaos, or the later stages of the memory fragment fight things, you do need two teams, right? So if you have Natasha on one, you're still going to need, or at least you should want, a healer on the second one, if you don't have any. And he is definitely going to be a great option there, and not to mention he's imaginary damage, so the fact that you don't have to constantly use his turn to heal other characters like Bailu does and Natasha does, like he can just attack, and then when your allies fall low, he'll just automatically heal them, which is so nice. And he has AoE damage on his burst, his ultimate. But let's move on to the 4-star character, which is going to be Yukong. So just like Luocha, we're going to check out her kit and test her out in combat. So we have the basic attack, which normal, nothing special there. Talent, 7 layers, 1 arrow. Basic attack damage additionally deals imaginary damage equal to 40% of Yukong's attack and increases the toughness, reducing damage of this attack by 100%. Increases the toughness, reducing damage. That's a weird phrase. This effect can be triggered again in 1 turn. Technique. After using her technique, Yukong enters sprint mode for 20 seconds. In sprint mode, her movement speed is increased by 35%, and Yukong gains 2 stacks of roaring bowstrings when she enters battle by attacking enemies. Not sure what that is, but hey, that seems kind of nice just for running around. Next up, we have her skill, which is called Emboldening Salvo. She's going to obtain 2 stacks of roaring bowstrings to a maximum of 2 stacks. When roaring bowstrings is active, the attack of all allies, wow, it increases by 40%. That's some nice synergy right there with Luocha if you happen to get both these characters. More heals. And every time an ally's turn ends, Yukong loses 1 stack of roaring bowstrings. When it's the turn where Yukong gains roaring bowstrings by using skill, roaring bowstrings will not be removed. Makes sense. Okay. That's a nice little buff there. And lastly, we have her ultimate, which is called Diving Kestrel. If roaring bowstrings is active on Yukong and when her ultimate is used, additionally increase all allies' crit rate by 21% and crit damage by 39%. And this is only at level 1? That's crazy. At the same time, deals imaginary damage equal to 228% of Yukong's attack to a single enemy. That's a really nice buff to everybody, right? Oh my goodness. So your main DPS, your sub DPS is all going to get this nice crit rate, crit damage, and she's going to do a little bit of damage herself. Let's look at the traces, specifically the major nodes. First one is Arcurion. Yukong can resist 1 debuff application for 1 time. This effect can be triggered again in 2 turns. Wow, that is actually really nice, and because of this, you probably don't need to build as much effect resistance on her, since she just has a free debuff removal, or a debuff resist, excuse me, unless that enemy you're fighting just casts debuffs all the time. But this is really, really nice. Next up, we have Bowmaster. When Yukong is on the field, imaginary damage dealt by all allies increases by 12%. This is going to be nice for Welt, of course, the other imaginary character in this game, as well as Luocha. But it just says imaginary damage, not attack, so it's not going to make his healing any better. But a nice little damage boost there. And for potentially any, right? Any new imaginary character, that DPS character in the future, is just going to be a nice little buff there. And the last one is Majestus. When Roaring Bowstrings is active, Yukong regenerates 2 additional energy every time an ally takes action. Every time an ally takes action? Excuse me, that's really nice. Expect that crit rate damage buff to be active more. That's really, really good. Helps you on your energy regen needs right there. Very, very strong bonus ability. Next up, we can look at her Eidolons, and since she is a 4-star character, these are definitely more obtainable than 5 stars, obviously. E1 is called Aerial Marshal. At the start of battle, increase the speed of all allies by 10% for 2 turns. That is already insanely good. E2, Skyward Command. When any ally's current energy is equal to its energy limit, as in they have their their ultimate ready to go. Yukong regenerates an additional 5 energy. This effect can only be triggered once for each ally. The trigger count is reset after Yukong casts her ultimate. Even more energy for your Yukong. That's great. E3 and E5 are going to increase her skill, basic attack, and then ultimate, as well as her talent respectively. So we'll just move on to E4, which is Zephyrian Echoes. When Roaring Bowstrings is active, Yukong deals 30% more damage to enemies. That's a nice little buff there. That's also going to help her ultimate do even more damage. Lastly, we have Bowstring Thunderclap, which is E6. When Yukong uses her ultimate, she immediately gains a stack of Roaring Bowstring. I want to say this is nice, but I kind of was expecting more. Maybe I'm not understanding how strong that can be. That sounds definitely more like a quality of life thing, though. Let's go ahead and move on to trying her out. Yeah, increases movement speed while exploring, increases attack, crit rate, and damage of allies who act next. Yep. So let's actually use her talent first. Oh my goodness. We're zooming. This is really good if you're just trying to find chests. Or if you're like in a daily, right? And you have to go around talking to people and stuff. Oh, this is really nice. Dude. Quality of life character right here. And use the skill again. And then there we go. So we're gonna use the support skill on... Oh, okay, you just use it on yourself. Nice. Kinda wanna use her burst already. I'm sorry I keep calling it that, her ultimate. Wow. This is actually really nice. Let's just do a normal attack just to see what's up. Wow. That was a lot of numbers. Use the burst on him. Fight those shields. I kind of wish there was a timer. Like when we're looking at buffs. Oh wow, it gives plus 70% attack. I forgot to look at her abilities now that they're properly leveled for this trial. And I also didn't do that for Luocha. Maybe it's better to look at their abilities when we're actually in the combat trial. Okay, so we're here in the combat trial again, and I want to look at their traces, but they're actually... So they're level 5 and 8. The normal attack talent is just 5. So if we look here, her talent basically makes her basic attack do much more damage. The most important thing I want to look at, though, is the... Look at that ultimate. At level 8, increases your crit rate by 26% and crit damage by 58%. That's still... that's really, really good. And 342% imaginary damage. That is really solid. Just like her daughter, she is a very good buffer for your team. And with that being done, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give her the Panda Seal of Approval here, because a character like Yukong, she's gonna be useful for any DPS, right? Not just for good synergy with Luocha here because of the imaginary or the attack boost, but you can pair her with Zila if you have her. You can pair him with the general, sorry, I forgot his name, the character that came after Zila, like... Not just like for past characters, but she is definitely future-proof. You can pair her with any DPS or even sub-DPS, and then their damage is going to get a significant boost from her. It's really, really nice. Not only that, but she's also just good for like, exploration purposes or just getting around faster because of her sprint. You can find those treasure chests faster. You can get your dailies done faster, the ones that at least require you to run around and talk to people and stuff like that. Like, it's just... an overall quality of life character, and she's definitely nice to have. So yeah, let's wrap up this video. I just want to say that both the characters, once again, both very, very solid additions to the roster, and I think Hoyoverse did a really good job with both of their kits. So with that being said, good luck on your pulls if you decide to pull. Let me know if you decide to pull on this banner or not in the comments below. And with that being said, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.